We are continuing to follow up on the investigation into the death of Anna Kepner and this unrelated custody case involving her stepmother that is in some ways now tied to this because of the 16-year-old stepbrother of Anna Kepner being, according to court documents, the central suspect in her death. And we heard about that in a Brevard County courtroom earlier today. I want to bring in Fox 35's Esther Bauer, who joins us live now via Zoom. Esther, you were in that courtroom for that hearing today in this custody dispute. What can you tell us about what happened in court?
So the hearing did not last very long. This started just after 9 a.m. and everything was wrapped up around 10:30, 10:45. We can say this was a win for Anna's stepmom, Chantel, because what her ex was trying to say is all these circumstances that happened on this cruise where 18-year-old Anna Kepner was found dead. Now her 16-year-old stepbrother is being investigated as a suspect in her murder. All this happened under mom's watch. So he was trying to get the other younger children out of the care of his mom. Now, a judge ultimately shot that down. These minor children will not be leaving their home in Titusville. So that's kind of why we were here. What was this custody hearing supposed to be about? But through all this and them trying to build their cases, we've now learned some more details about what was going on that cruise. So some pertinent points that we haven't known until just a few hours prior is that the parents did not see Anna. The last time they saw her was Thursday at 6:30 p.m. And we are told around 7 p.m. was the final time they saw the 16-year-old stepbrother. So 6:30 for Anna, just a half an hour later, that was the final time Anna's stepmom, Chantel, said while in court she saw both of those kids. Keep in mind, Anna was found the following day, the entire night hour, and then 11 a.m. is when that medical call came out. Anna was pronounced dead on the cruise ship 11/17. So we're getting just some more details of when were the children last seen by their parents. Also, there was conversation of what was the sleeping situation? Where were parents? Where were kids? The mother said that who they were booking this cruise with, their travel rep, suggested to them that they do the separate rooms. Mom and dad were staying, hallway was right here. All the three kids were staying in the room directly across from them. We confirmed ages 18, 16, 14. 18-year-old was Anna. 16-year-old is the stepbrother that is currently being investigated for this alleged murder. 14-year-old was another child. And again, these are step siblings that were staying in that same room at the same time. The mother said during her time speaking to a judge that these kids did not have access to drinking. However, another witness was called. This was a stepmother of Chantel who said that she did see Chantel serving underage children liquor in an earlier time frame. So that was brought up. But again, Chantel immediately and has said from the beginning the kids were not drinking on this cruise. So those were some really big takeaways from what we learned. The family did leave the courthouse just a few minutes ago. We tried to ask them, I should say, how will they get justice for Anna? Do they know what happened on that cruise ship? The family had sunglasses on, both the ex-husband's side and Chantel and her current husband, which is Anna's dad, left without saying a word. So everyone has since departed from the courtroom. Something else we learned, which we've reported on, and early on in this, one of the first confirmations we had about Anna dying back in November was from her school, that Temple Christian school. We learned today during the court hearing the other minor children that were attending that school were unenrolled by the school. The school ultimately told the family there was too much media surrounding what had happened on that cruise ship. So they are now putting their other minor children in other school because the Christian school where Anna was attending and all the kids were going, told them they can no longer attend that school. So a lot of new developments. Again, this didn't go in the biological dad's favor. And again, this would be the biological dad of the suspect being investigated by the FBI, because he wanted his other minor daughter to be immediately put in his hands, in his care. But we're also hearing mother testified that the 16-year-old stepbrother who's under investigation will not be allowed back into their home going forward. Her and Anna's dad, Chris, and there is no timeline. Again, no one's been arrested, no one's been charged for this, but she also did say at this time and going forward, they are not welcoming that child back into their home. That child is staying with a relative of the mom. And as we learned, the FBI has not told them when they would move forward, where things are, and what they're looking into. So for the foreseeable future, this 16-year-old stepbrother of Anna will be staying somewhere else and will not be welcomed back into his parents' home, at least his mother's home, going forward.
Esther, when we spoke yesterday, we talked about the subpoena for Christopher Kepner, who is Anna's biological father, and you outlined the difficulties of the process server trying to get that subpoena to him. We talked about some of the questions of whether he might show up, whether he might be called to testify. Was he there today?
Christopher was there. Anna's dad was there. He walked hand in hand in with his wife. Chantel. He was in court, but he was not called to the stand. The judge only allowed 3 witnesses from the ex-husband's side to speak. She ultimately said, "I have heard enough. This does not rise to this. This does not rise to the fact where we need to immediately pull the other minor children out." But Anna's dad, Chris, was in court, did not have to speak, and also didn't say anything when he left with his wife.
It looked like there were quite a few people inside the courtroom. What was the scene like in there in the gallery?
So we do know that they had to move it to a larger courtroom because they were prepping for what was going to be a large turnout of media and other people that were going to be. The courtroom was not full, but what they did do is they wanted to bar any witnesses. There were several witnesses that were called, someone from DCF, someone from the Christian school, 2 people from the Christian school that we didn't hear from. All the witnesses were told to leave when every witness was called in. Both sides did not want other witnesses to hear what the other people were saying. So because of that, the courtroom was even more bare. There was a decent amount of media, but the courtroom was by no way full.
All right, interesting developments in this case as we also continue to learn more from these court documents as well in that case that have now confirmed her what is believed to be her cause of death and where her body was found on that cruise ship. So continuing to be just a sad story that we are following there. Fox 35's Esther Bauer, we appreciate you joining us and talking with us about this here on Fox 35 News Plus.
Yes, absolutely.